I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're delighted to welcome back one of our favorite guests. He is a very talented author by the name of Waring Jones, and he has written a wonderful Christmas story for the holidays and beyond. It is called Elfis the Friendly Elf, The Fight for the North Pole. Now, this is an imaginative children's book that brings a thrilling battle for control of the North Pole between Santa Claus, embodying kindness and love, and Jack Frost, wielding the power of Thunderbolt icicles. The story also delves into the world of Santa's elves as they strive to continue making toys for children around the world. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank our team at Icicles Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his delightful book. The links are below the interview. Waring, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for inviting me.
You have written another wonderful holiday tale, this one about Santa Claus and Jack Frost and elves. And I gave a little bit of the big picture, but why don't you tell the folks a little bit more about what it's about?
Well, Santa Claus was looking for a new place to expand the North Pole because there's so many people in the world. He went up to the North Pole and was choosing something, and Jack Frost said, "No, you can't just come in and tell us what to do." And so he said, "Well, let's see if we can come to a negotiation of some kind." So he talked to the North Wind, and the North Wind said, "Yes, let's have a small competition, and whoever wins the right to the North Pole." And so they had to have a riddle that they had to say, and whoever won the riddle was in control. So the other one would have not necessarily have to leave, but they'd be the underdog. So
awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great story. It's a classic tale of good versus evil, Santa versus, a snow monster, if you will. I don't know if Rankin Bass is still around, but this would be a great story to be adopted to, either animation or that claymation they used to do with the puppets.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what a thrill that would be to see it brought to life like that?
It would be. It'd be fantastic. Yeah. One of my friends in Toronto about 45 years ago, he was one of the people that first started doing clay animation. He lived on the Toronto Islands, just off Toronto, anyway.
Yeah, well,
yeah, it's been around for quite a while now.
It has been. It's been around quite a while. I think it's time to resurrect it because you don't see too much of it anymore. And I think it's a whole lot more imaginative than all the computer-generated stuff that.
I agree totally.
Yeah. Yep. I love the character Elfis because first of all, I feel like I'm saying his name wrong.
No, that's right. Yeah.
But I love Elfis. And I love the fact that he conveys the book's core themes of kindness and perseverance. Tell us a little bit about creating him and what you hope children will learn from him.
Yeah, well, my dad used to always tell us stories around the table. I'm one of 5 kids, and he tried to generate love in our family and love when he was telling stories. And actually, the riddle in there, he used to use in a story with the 3 pigs and 3 little pigs and the wolf. And that was the riddle. And when I went to write this, I mean, that was 70 years ago. And I thought, well, I'm going to incorporate that riddle. It sounds perfect and it's fun for kids. We loved it when he made it up for us. And it's nice to know that when you're trying to generate love, that it can be incorporated in your day-to-day life, and that love can overcome evil. Absolutely. Or badness. Yeah, not necessarily evil, but badness for sure.
Or badness or meanness or unthoughtfulness or whatever it is. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great lesson for children to learn. Yeah. How did you get the inspiration for this? I know you've written another wonderful children's book. And tell us about this story, how you got inspired for this.
I was trying to think of that. I wrote it about 4 or 5 years ago, and I'd relay it to guests and friends, and then we were talking one night, and I think it just slipped out of we were talking and joking maybe about songs or something. I said, "Well, what about Elvis?" And they said, "Well, it's pretty well like Elvin, obviously." And I said, "Well, he is an elf,
Yeah.
and he's a hero, so let's call him Elvis."
Yeah.
So it stuck, and yeah, I like it. I like the word.
Yeah, me too. I think it's great. Kids will think it's fun, think it's funny.
Yeah,
Anything that's a little bit of a twist of what they expect, generally
yeah,
get a peal of laughter out of a kid for sure. Now, the
yeah.
North Wind is the referee in the epic showdown between Santa and Jack Frost, right? Tell us about
Yes.
that.
Well, when I was doing some research on the North Wind, I came up. There is a name for all the gods, and
Mhm.
so he's a real god, and so I'd like to use that as much as I could, and the kids can look it up, or their parents look it up with their kids or whatever. And he's in control. I guess it's a man, but he's in control, and so that was good. It's good to have a referee so that if there is a contest and there is going to be a winner, that it's a real winner, and the refereeing is all good. It's not one-sided, and so yeah, it seemed like a very good idea, and it's not like they're ganging up on Jack Frost. But if you're having a contest, you need a judge.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it was
Tell us
good to be able
about
to use.
your other children's storybook, which was quite imaginative that we discussed last time for the viewers at home who might not have seen that interview.
Oh, yeah, that's called the letter from Santa Claus.
Mhm.
Just one sec. Sorry.
Sure. And this was a book, as I
This thing here, I
recall.
didn't show you this last time. This is
Yep.
the actual. I don't. Can you see
Yep,
that?
I can see it. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a copy of the original letter that I got from Santa Claus, and that's a copy, but that was from 75 years ago. So it's fun to know that Santa is around and that he does care and that he loves us. Being one of five kids, Christmas has always been a fun time for us and our
Absolutely.
family. Our
And that
family.
was actually a letter penned by your dad as if he were
Yes,
Santa Claus.
that's right. And I still have all the letters that my brothers and sisters wrote me in the hospital. I've kept them all because
Yeah.
they kids weren't allowed in the hospital then. But anyway, yeah. So it's very good, and I used to help out at Christmas time. I don't as much now. I used to deliver boxes to the poor, organized,
Yep.
and I was thankful, even as a young kid, knowing that being in a family of modest means that there was lots of poor people around that
Yeah.
I shouldn't have been whining at all. And that I think when you do charity work, that's brought up pretty fast that just how fortunate most of us are.
Yeah. Yeah. But as Dickens says, this is the time of year when want is keenly felt, you know,
Yes, it
and
is.
that line always stuck with me. And abundance rejoices.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
another,
And also one of the things that was influential, it's not really like this, but I don't know if you ever read The Water Babies, did you?
I did not know.
It's one of the best kids' books ever. Charles Dickens hired uh, Charles Kingsley to do a story every week or once a month or whatever, and out came and Dickens was all usually by I can't think of the word anyway by what's it called, serial, and so anyway he hired him, and it's about a poor boy, and he'd never seen himself white. He was a chimney sweep, but it just talks about how important it is to be part of a bigger project, to be loved. And whoops, was that me? Sorry, it went off Zoom.
You're good. I can see it. You're fine.
Oh, you can see me? Okay.
Yep.
Anyway, and that so he had some names in there, and they're the things that I like too. he had Mrs. Do as you would be done by and Mrs. Be done by as you did. So trying to bring in some
like
spirit
themes and values through the
values.
characters.
That's the right word. Thank you. Bring in values that we can live by, and that it's not just the rich that enjoy things. It's the values that make you a better person and a stronger person.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you've written 2 books now. One obviously inspired by your dad, one a complete original that I think will be part of the holiday tradition for many families that are celebrating Christmas. This book is called Elfis the Friendly Elf, The Fight for the North Pole by Waring Jones. The other book is called Letter from Santa Claus. They are both wonderful. They are both imaginative. And let me ask you, before we leave you today, tell me a little bit about the illustrations within The Fight for the North Pole. Tell me about getting those done.
Okay, Marfandos, I had, she drew the pictures for my first book, Letter from Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came time to do this, I wrote to her and asked if she could do the pictures for my second book. I said I'd like them to be similar, carrying on with the elf thing. And so her name is Marfandos, and she's a fantastic artist. And I get just as many compliments from this book as I do from the other one. And the one where Elfis is sitting on the bed in total shadow, looking dejected with his little elf hat beside him on the bed. I don't know why, but I really relate to that. As a child, you often feel like you're by yourself. And that picture that she has, that shadow picture, is my favorite picture in the book. So, but she's fantastic.
Well, the book is fantastic. The text is fantastic. The illustrations go right along with it and they complement it. It's a wonderful book, highly recommended. The links are below this interview. Click on them now, order the books. Perfect gift for the holiday season. You'll love reading them to your children, and your kids will love hearing about the terrific adventure, the big challenge between Santa Claus in this corner and Jack Frost in the opposing corner. Weighing in at 5'3" and 290 pounds is Santa Claus. Waring, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Okay, thank you again, Logan. It's always nice to speak with you.
Same here. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight. I sounded like I cut you off. You're going to say one other thing?
Nope, you didn't. Nope.
Okay. Great.